Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting into today? We are getting into Love is Blind season 5, and this is now episode 4. So we know the next episodes are all due to come out on the 29th of September. So I'll do some more videos for Love is Blind when they do come out. In between that period, I am going back to Married at First Sight UK. So you will see some videos come out, more than likely over the weekend. You will see some more Married at First Sight UK episodes come. So before we get into this episode of Love is Blind, what I will ask you to do, as I always do, is please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I am back on and doing videos. And then we'll talk all about Love is Blind season 5, because my God, it left us on a major cliffhanger, didn't it? Episode 3 left us on a major cliffhanger, didn't it? Our Lydia and Uchi had been dating previously and split up just more or less, it seemed like, just before they came into Love is Blind. And then the first date that they each had, Lydia freaking recognised Uchi. So now it makes sense. It all makes sense. If you watch the episode where Aaliyah was literally singing Uchi's praises and was saying that this man feels her, this man gets her, yada, 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 you know, all the good stuff. Lydia was sitting there crying. Like, she was looking away and she was getting upset and she was crying and stuff, even though she was friends with Aaliyah and confident. And I'm thinking, why is this girl crying when this girl is talking about Uchi in the way that she's talking about Uchi? Now I know. Now I know. And it's the fact that they kept it quiet for all this time. They kept it quiet for all this time. Even when they both realised that they know who each other is. So I'm like, hold on, are they gonna show this date? Are they gonna show the date? And they did. They showed the date. So basically you see Uchi come into the room, going to speak to her, and she comes in as well. They say hey, and she's like, oh, I recognise his voice. So basically Lydia's recognised his voice, and then as soon as he says his name, she's like, but wait, I know you, Uchi. And he was like, what? Because best believe this man didn't even fucking recognise her. Didn't recognise her in the slightest. She was giving all the hints, but he still didn't pick up on the hints. She said that she read out his full government name and everything. And then he recognised who she was. And then they were both talking, and she was saying, is this a sign for us to get to know each other that way again? Saying that, you know, do they get to date? Are they able to date? And Uchi was saying, we don't think so, and it necessarily won't be fair on other people within the place to date each other. I was like, oh, fuck my life. They kept that shit quiet. Like, they kept that shit quiet and then dropped it as it was coming to the end. And my thing is, but actually, you know why Uche probably said it when he said it? Because he was probably thinking if he asked Aaliyah to marry him, they would go to the flats and then probably meet up with all the other couples. And if Milton asked Lydia to marry him, then there would be potential for Lydia to be in the same spot that he's in, and that shit would then come out and it would look worse than what it was. So that's probably why he didn't say nothing. That is probably why he didn't say nothing. But it's still bad. He should have told her from the get-go. But then he had all the audacity to get mad at her over something she did 2.5 fucking years ago. As it moves on now, we slip back to Uche explaining to Aaliyah, basically, that they dated for a few months. And he was the one that ended things. And it did hurt him to end things with her because she's an amazing person. But at the time that they met, Lydia was not in a good space. Emotionally and mentally, Lydia was not in a good space, and he couldn't be the person that she wanted him to be at that moment in time. And this is where I'm kind of thinking, okay then, if that's the case, then you didn't necessarily dump her over issues within your relationship. It was because you couldn't be the person that she wanted at that time. So what if she's more put together now? Would you then still be looking to be the person that you want to be for her? That's what I was thinking when this was going on. So then Aaliyah's talking to him. Aaliyah's quite devastated and says that she needs a minute. She needs a minute in order to get her thoughts together and then come back to him. Now, my first thought would have been is me and Lydia need to talk. Like, we really need to talk, because I've come to you saying all kinds of shit about Uche to you. Don't forget, we don't get to see the unedited stuff. We don't get to see the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in terms of their discussions, because we can't be fooled into thinking that these are the only discussions that they have when they're all together. So Aaliyah and Lydia has probably shared a lot more in that respect, especially Aaliyah with how she's feeling about Uche, and she probably can't wait to do certain things with Uche and yada yada yada. And I'm like, she's been sat there having these girly chats with Lydia, and Lydia knowing full well that her and Uche used to be together and mess with each other. Like, they knew each other in the biblical sense. They've seen each other naked. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, me and Lydia would have had to have a chat. We would have had to have some kind of chat. See Aaliyah go back in after she's had her little mind set to, and she's telling Uche that Lydia's been so supportive, and that them two are really, really bonded with each other, and she calls Lydia her sister. And I'm kind of thinking at this point, so what are you going to do, Aaliyah? Are you choosing Uche, or are you going to choose your relationship with Lydia over any type of possible relationship with Uche? I'm not getting what's happening right now. She's going through her thought processes and everything like that. He's convincing her that it's over. And basically he said that he did see a lot of good qualities in Lydia that would make her a good wife, but he couldn't give that 100% back to her. Now, if you're trying to reassure me that there ain't going to be nothing more between you two, the words you've just said ain't going to reassure me. It's not going to reassure me in the slightest. Uche was not being reassuring, because when I was watching it, I was thinking Uche really wanted to be with Lydia, to be fair. That's how I was seeing it. Even down to the point when he made the comment of, he asked Aaliyah about her thoughts about Lydia's thoughts around Milton. And I sat there thinking, why are you checking for Lydia for? Why are you checking about what's happening between Lydia and Milton? That is between them two. You shouldn't be asking Aaliyah. It's none of your damn business. Go back in the other room and ask Milton if you really want to know. So then it's when he asked her that, and she was saying that, you know, she really likes him and yada yada yada. And then he said, oh, don't tell Lydia this, but I did tell Milton that if he's not serious, then he shouldn't really marry her. And I'm thinking, why are you putting your mouth in their business? Why are you putting your mouth in their business, and then have the audacity to turn around and say that he doesn't believe that Milton is really in love with her? What do you know? You haven't been privy to their conversations. You don't know how them two talk to each other or respond to each other. So how in the hell are you trying to tell Milton not to have anything really? You shouldn't be asking Lydia nothing. So then I thought that was a bit off, to be fair. That was a bit off, because you just dropped a bombshell on Aaliyah, the person that you actually are trying to convince to be with you, and you're more bothered about what Lydia's doing. Why? Why are you bothered about it? So then we know that Izzy got down on one knee and asked Stacy to marry him. My thing is, he went through a whole fucking spiel, got down on one knee, and then had to wait for frigging Stacy to go through her spiel. I was like, Stacy, just say yes, no man. Forget the fucking blah, 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 blah. Just say freaking yes. In the end, she said yes. Yeah, she said yes. Then we move on to Johnny and Chris, because, you know, Chris went away to think about things. I don't know why, because I would have just told her right then and there, as I said in the other episode, no, catch me an Uber, I want to leave, because just know, you can't go and fuck me off for somebody else and then decide you want to come back because that person decided that they didn't want you. No, that's not happening. Not being second best. And I'm so glad Chris saw his self-worth, because he basically, like, seriously told her no. He told her no, didn't want to do it, and he weren't gonna do it. And I was just so glad. I was just so glad, because before that happened, before that situation happened, you see Stacy go back into the girl side, and you see the face, the look. If looks could kill, Stacy would have been like lava on the motherfucking floor. Her bones would have melted to ash. she would have puffed up in a puff of smoke if looks could kill. Because the way that Johnny looked at her when she walked in, knowing full well that this girl was now engaged to the person that she really wanted. And it's the fact that when she turned around and she says, oh, I'm so happy for you, I wish you all the best. No, you fucking don't. Your whole face says you do not wish them all the best. You do not. And then she was talking about things in regards to Chris. And then I'm like, she has placed Chris in the position of her ex-husband. That's what she's doing right now. And she is hoping that she's given enough to basically get Chris to say yes. And that's why I was so happy he said no. That's why I was so happy he said no. Because he turned around that he said he needs to be selfish today and worry about himself and choose someone who will always choose him. Which is right. She didn't choose him. She let go a good one. She let go a good one, because best believe Stacy's going to have problems with Izzy. Stacy is going to have problems with Izzy. I see it coming, to be fair. But yeah, I didn't want Chris to bloody say yes to her. And he didn't. So I was happy with that one. Then we see the drama, the weirdness, the whole my life-ness of Lydia and Aaliyah's chat. So Aaliyah's basically hugging Lydia and basically whispered in her ear, I know. And she went, what? He told you? And then Lydia starts crying, and then they're chatting and everything like that. And she basically was telling Aaliyah the backstory of how her and Uche met. And that basically that he need, hopefully being with her, he can be more open. And she just kept on saying, oh, he's picked someone so like me. He's picked someone so like me. That's why I keep saying we're two peas in a pod, that we're like each other. That would be my first red flag with this girl. That would be, as a friend, if that's what Aaliyah wants to be with Lydia, that would be my first red flag with her. Because I'm like, don't compare yourself to me. Don't think he picked me because he couldn't pick you. That's probably what he did do. But yeah, and then she basically went in. Lydia went in talking about his house, talking about like, I think she got to meet some of his family members and stuff like that. And then talking about the sex. I was like, what? At that point, I would have got punch triggered, because I would have punched that girl in her mouth and told her to shut up. They would have had to drag me out of that bloody room, I'm telling you, because at that point I would have said, you know what? Started off okay. You started off okay, and then you went in the realm of never ever, coulda, woulda, should never ever have opened your mouth to tell me about no sex life between you and the man I'm trying to get engaged to or be married to at the end of this motherfucking show. That was a bit too much. She went way too far. She did way too much. Imagine. And then ended up telling the girl that they had sex 3 or 4 months ago? Just before they came on the show? I'm gonna ask the question again. Where did they find these people from? Like, seriously, where did they find these people from? Because I'm sorry, I don't know in what realm this girl thinks she's stable. Lydia's not stable. She's not a stable person. How is that friendship? Your friend has just come in from talking to the man that she wants to get engaged to after she's found out that you two were in a relationship before you fucking well got in the pods, and that you realised it was you two when you've had your first date and told nobody. Then it all came out in a wash. She's come back in and told you, said that thinking, no, you're going to be supportive sisters and everything will be good, and she'll go back and then be with Uche and it'll be all. But no, you turned it murky. Like, Lydia murked the girl in her senses with everything she was throwing at her. And then I think it was at that point that Aaliyah was thinking, how am I going to be able to get past this? Like, seriously, how am I going to be able to say yes to this man if he asks me to marry him, and then trust him around someone like Lydia? To be fair, to be able to trust both of them in any sort of scenario, because at the end of the day, they didn't break up. They didn't break up because it was a bad relationship. They couldn't fulfill each other's needs at that time. It weren't because it was a bad relationship. And you could clearly tell that something's still there. You could clearly tell that something's still there. So yeah, I don't know how that one's going to work out. And this is why I'll say, don't ask for the truth if you know good goddamn well you ain't going to be able to handle that truth once it comes your way. Because no, I don't think anybody will be able to handle hearing that, to be fair. And I think, as I said, Lydia took it one step too far by talking about their intimate relationship with Aaliyah. But it weren't even the fact that she was talking about it. She was just offering up this information. Bam, 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 bam. She weren't even, and again, she went reading the cues on Aaliyah's face, telling her, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear this shit. She went reading the cues. She just kept talking and wouldn't shut the fuck up. So then Aaliyah and Uche speak again, and Uche now knows that Lydia knows that Aaliyah knows because Aaliyah's told him, basically. And she's saying she doesn't know whether she can trust Uche. Yes, I would say again, they've been honest with her, but again, I think it's going to be one of those things where if they get into a scenario or a situation with each other, how is that going to turn out? Because again, you could still tell that they had feelings for each other, that there was still something there between the both of them. He's trying to say that he has no feelings for Lydia, with Lydia, but I think he's lying to himself, to be quite honest. I really do think he's lying to himself. So basically, she's questioning everything. Aaliyah's questioning everything, and she doesn't know where to go or what to do with the information that has been provided to her. So I think they kind of leave it there, and she does leave the room. And I think he's hoping to speak to her at another point in time. So then we move to Lydia. And Lydia is in a date with Milton, and they're sitting and they're chatting. And then Lydia decides to tell Milton about it, about Uche. And I'm like, why would you tell Milton about Uche? Because at the end of the day, that didn't impact Milton in the slightest. Yes, Uche said some stupid shit, but at that point it didn't impact Milton in the slightest because Uche didn't tell him. It was Lydia, and I just, at that point, I just didn't understand why she told him. I didn't understand why she told him. Yes, she wants to be honest. Yes, she wants to be truthful in that sense. So she decided to tell him, but then she kind of fucked everything up, because then it was a case of Milton was like, what? And then he says, I don't even know if I can deal with another flipping bombshell. And then he just said that he needed time to process this. So he said to her, let me go process, let me do what I need to do, and I will come back to you. And she took that to mean that he was dumping her. So she, again, she walks into the freaking thing and starts blarting. And I'm like, my girl, calm your shit down. Calm your What did you think was going to happen when you told this dude that the person you met the first time you dated, and it's Uche, the Uche who freaking told him that maybe he shouldn't get engaged to you? So what did you expect Milton to do? Really, well and truly, what did she expect Milton to do? Give the man time to think about what he's going to do and how he's going to act within this scenario, and then he'll come back to you. No use you freaking standing there crying, because you're crying over spilt fucking milk at the end of the day. So now, as we're winding down, we see that Stacy and Izzy meet, and they do like each other. It was a good meeting, actually. Nothing really bad to say about it, to be honest. Then you moves to Lydia and Milton, and Milton asks Lydia to marry him, and she says yes. And she runs into the room, I'm engaged, and everybody starts screaming. And then it moves to Uche. Uche and Aaliyah, my God, left us on another cliffhanger, like left us on another sweeping cliffhanger. And what happened here is Uche went to the room. His journal was set down. It's the journal that he actually gave to Aaliyah, that he wrote the poem in, wanted her to keep. So he was quite confused as to why the journal was there, but it was set down on his side. So he was sitting there saying hello, because he was all dressed at that point to ask her to marry him. So he's there saying hello, hello. And I'm sitting there thinking, nah, she didn't. Did she go? Like, did she leave? And then when the thing clicks in, and tells him Aaliyah's left. She decided she didn't no longer wanted to be a part of the experiment. And I'm like, why did you like leave this man sitting there for so long? Like, you left that man sitting there for so long, saying hello, knowing full well my girl was not going to walk in that room. Knowing full well my girl was not going to walk in that room. You did that man dirty. Like, proper dirty. You could have put him out of his misery either before he went into the pods, but then it wouldn't be TV. It wouldn't make TV then, would it? Or at least a couple of seconds after he sat down and he said his first hello. I mean, you could have told him then, but you waited a good while before you told him she'd left. So then Uche is quite shocked and upset. He gets up and walks to the room, and they're all looking, all the rest of the lads are looking at me as if to say, well, did it happen? Did she say yes? And then he turned around and said, she's gone. And at first they were like, And then he was like, she left. Excuse me. And everybody just went, huh? And I was like, raw. And Leah just was like, yeah, bye, bitch. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with the Lydia and Uche situation. I can't trust them enough. That's what she was saying. I cannot trust yous enough to be in the same space as you two. And if anything goes down between you two, I couldn't do it. So she said, I'm out. I don't blame her. I really don't blame her, to be fair. I don't blame her. But this is where I'm going to leave it in regards to this episode. And I'll be back with the others because I can't wait to see what happens next, because I have seen the other clips. So we do see that Uche does manage to call and speak to Aaliyah at first. And I think they then meet up in order to have a discussion, and we'll see what happens from here on out, as the next episodes are not back until the 29th of September. So, my lovely lot, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I am on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.